So what is a comfort zone? A comfort zone is a pretty typical word that we've been using forever, but my favorite definition of it actually comes from Judith Bardwick's book, Danger in the Comfort Zone. And she describes comfort zone this way, where our uncertainty, scarcity, and vulnerability are minimized, where we believe we'll have access to enough love, food, talent, time, and admiration, where we feel safe. So comfort zone is where we are in a place that we are guaranteed, where we know that we're not going to be short of these vital things like love and admiration and food and time. So we're not going to do anything to um, jeopardize those things. So we put up walls of fear to stay within that comfort zone. Now, as you probably know, comfort leads to conformity. You know, the more we get dependent on staying in this comfort zone, the more we're unwilling to risk love or admiration or safety or security, the more we conform to the norms of our society, whether that's a 9 to 5 job or certain accountabilities or similar ways of doing the way others do, because we want to belong. We want to be a part of a social structure that makes us safe. So comfort leads to conformity, and I will show you more specifically how this happens in the world in our next session. But I'm sure you can think of many examples where we literally compromise who we are and living in a high performance zone or stepping out into that curiosity simply because we are unwilling to give up the safety and security that comes from conforming and being a part of a family, a society, a group, or a set of norms. High performance, on the other hand, happens whether it's a business, whether it's sports, comes when we're slightly outside of that comfort zone, not when there is so much incredible stress that we actually shut down, but where we're slightly outside of that comfort zone, we will have higher performance. So, in other words, when one's curiosity outweighs their need to be comfortable or outweighs their need to conform, then performance is enhanced. The performance could be as a franchisee, or it could be performance could be in you trying to get that prospective franchisee to perform and do his or her due diligence and get that homework back to you and check with those franchisees. That's performance outside of their norm, and it only happens when they're slightly outside of their comfort zone. I love this diagram because it kind of shows a little bit of how attention and curiosity affects us. When there's not enough stress, when we are too comfortable, when there's not a lot of stress, we're in this zone, this meh zone, right? There's no real pushing it to the next level to see what else is available, including the potential of being a business owner. But something has got to get somebody's attention. In this case, I'm suggesting it's you as a franchisor or you as a franchise consultant must do things to get their attention and to stimulate their curiosity. Then and only then can they get out of that comfort zone and into this performance zone. This is where they're doing whatever it takes, get the financing, get partners, do their due diligence, call those franchisees. This is when they start to perform. But we don't want them coming down into a freak out zone where all of a sudden the walls of fear begin to go up. So we want to keep them in this zone, this performance zone, is what it's called in performance psychology. We want to keep just enough pressure on, just enough stress through curiosity, by stimulating that trait curiosity, that they go into a higher performance and can move more quickly. But we don't want to freak them out either. So because conforming is considered desirable, it's often a mindless, automatic response that requires minimal deliberation. So if we don't exert any stress or any pressure to push them into curiosity zone and then into this performance zone, if we allow someone to stay in their comfort and their conform zone, what will all automatically happen is all decisions will be mindless and won't require a whole lot of deliberation. And usually that mindless, lack of deliberation decision is, oh, you know what, we're okay. We'll have a little bit of retirement. We'll have a Social Security. We'll whatever. I don't want to upset the apple cart. So someone will go back to the what is norm, or what used to be norm for them, simply because we haven't exerted enough pressure and or created enough uh, trait curiosity for someone to get into that performance zone where they're able to make more informed, more acute decisions. So obviously, if they're just buying a toothbrush, that's fine. You know, let them la 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 through Walmart and pick up the toothbrush they want. But when you're buying a franchise, we need them in a heightened state of alert, and we need to keep them up there for a period of a few weeks so they can make a good decision. So here's where I want to start giving you a couple of tips how this neuroscience applies to marketing. Although please stay tuned, our future webinars will dig more deeply, but we promised you a couple of little pieces. So let me show you how this works. Social proof, a term that we all are very familiar with, basically results from the perception that others' preferences and their actions provide some kind of a proof that this is the right action or the appropriate actions to take. So if everyone is, you know, doing a certain behavior, it must be the appropriate behavior. If everyone is buying a certain product, then that must be a good product. So this whole idea of social proof. Now, the reality is social proof works. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm suggesting that top performing franchisees and those that we're going to be able to push into this curiosity zone and outside of their comfort zone, those that ultimately will perform not just during their process with you as they're discovering if the business is good for them, but also ultimately they'll perform as franchisees, are not ones that typically respond well to Me Too marketing. It works, but it will not likely be your superstar franchisees. So Me Too marketing relies on social proof. If someone else that's a firefighter like me is buying a franchise, then this must be the right thing or the right step for a firefighter to do. So this is a good example. Does this add work? Absolutely. Does it attract superstar franchisees? Questionable. So if I'm a firefighter and I'm an athlete, then by default, somehow I should be a franchise owner. So this kind of Me Too marketing works, but it doesn't work as well on a superstar franchisee, someone who's going to be your higher performer, simply because it puts them right back in their comfort zone, right? Okay, I am that same comfort zone. I've just maybe added a little bit to it, but I haven't really stretched. I am not in that performance zone. I'm right back. I'm a firefighter and an athlete, and I'm a franchise owner, and it's all kind of one and the same. So it kind of made me think a little bit about Meghan Trainor's song called Me Too. And here's some of her lyrics. And this is what a lot of our marketing is today. If I was you, I'd want to be me too. I'd want to be me too. I'd want to be me too. Is this really what you want? Or do you want a franchisee that can embrace your systems, run an ethical and principled business, but can think on their own and hunt and step out into that curiosity zone and into that performance zone? Or do you want someone that's just going to conform? Comply is one thing, being ethical and principled, but conform and go back into a comfort zone. Do you want to just stretch them for a little bit and then they go right back into a comfort zone? Or do you want someone that regularly steps out into that curiosity zone, into that educational area, into that curiosity area, that is just someone that regularly performs? So Me Too marketing will attract individuals, but not necessarily the individuals that are going to, over the long haul, be your performers. Of course, we're in this selfie culture today, right? Here's an excellent example of someone busy taking a picture while we got a house burning down in the back. Instead of grabbing a hose or grabbing a bucket or doing something, instead we're going to do this. Now, what happens here neurologically is this guy that is in the selfie picture, the same as we saw with the fireman in the other picture, the body and the brain still gets a feeling of having been in that fire, even though he didn't have to put it out or do battle with the blazes in any way. He gets to vicariously, through voyeurism, get that hit of dopamine to his brain that says, I was there, I got to experience it. Yeah, but did you fight the battle? Did you win the trophy? No. He was an observer. He was a looky-loo. So are your prospects doing the same thing through your marketing efforts, through the messaging that you're putting out there? Are you giving them a hit, this dopamine addictive hit, where you're allowing them to simply be voyeurs on your websites, watching your videos, listening to your presentations, where they feel like they're there, but they're not having to take any responsibility for doing something about it. They get to just observe and take pictures of themselves and say that they were there, but never have to actually perform or do something. And I'm not just saying filling out a document, but what are you doing to create that same hit of curiosity that we call trait curiosity, which is innate, which causes someone to go out and actually do something versus just observe it being done, which is more of a state curiosity, where they're getting a hit by observing and listening, but they're not doing anything. And we'll dig more deeply into this in the future, obviously.